Hey everyone, it's Diego Viteri. Welcome to a new video of Viteri Boxing. Today I want to show you the principles of each punch in boxing. What I mean is that each punch in boxing, the jab, the cross, the hook, the upper, and the upper, they share some common principles that you need to have in order to punch correctly. So today I'm going to give you all of them, and also of course I'm going to give you some exercises so you could work at home. Let's begin. The first thing before you start throwing any punch is you need to know how to do a fist, how to make a fist correctly. Most people get injured not because they pull their arm back or maybe because they punch too hard or whatever they do. They get injured because they don't know how to make a correct fist. So the way of doing a correct fist is you need to try to hide your nails. First thing you need to try to hide your nails. Once you do this, you have to make sure if you look from the side, it needs to be straight. All of your knuckles, all of your fingers need to be in a straight line. What I mean is you shouldn't have one finger a little bit forward or one finger a little bit going in. It needs to be all of them completely in a line. The second thing and the most important thing whenever you make a fist is you need to put your thumb. You have to put your thumb on top of your fingers, like on top of your fingers, and you're gonna put some pressure. This pressure is gonna create some tension in your wrist and of course in all of the forearm muscles, which gonna make a lot harder, and it's gonna be better so you don't get injured. Just try for yourself. If you put your thumb, if you don't use your thumb, it's really easy to move your wrist. It's like really loose. If you put pressure in your thumb into the fingers, you're gonna have a lot more power, and of course, you're not gonna get injured. So make sure you get this pressure, and if you're gonna punch, make sure to always aim for these two knuckles. That's why when we throw straight punches, we don't throw them just like a straight way. We turn our wrist 45 degrees. That way we punch with our two knuckles. So it's really important that you make sure to make a correct fist and to always make sure you punch with the two big knuckles. Now that you know how to do a fist, you need to know the 6 main punches in boxing. Number 1 is the jab. Just throw the jab. Number 2, the cross. Number 3 is the lead hook. Number 4 is the rear hook. 5, lead uppercut, and 6, rear uppercut. All of them share some principles. Number 1, and you need to understand, we're going from feet to head. The first thing is that all power comes from the ground up. So whenever you're going to throw a punch, you need to turn. You have to turn your hip in each punch. If I throw a jab, I have to turn the tip of my toe. I have to turn my tip of my toe. If I throw across, the same thing. The hook, the same thing. And the upper, the same thing. So that's the first one. Always make sure you got your legs moving, because that will make for you easier. After you punch, you can move. Some people, they stay still. They throw the punch without moving their feet, and it's really hard for them to move because they're just using their body to punch. But you need to understand that it comes from the ground up. So you need to push from the tip of the toe, use your hip. That's number 1. Number 2 is that you have to make sure to always have protection whenever you throw a punch. If I throw a punch, I can never do just like this. I have to make sure I have protection with my shoulder. So if I throw a jab, make sure I have my shoulder up. So if he throws a punch, I have protection. I have protection here. The same thing if I throw across. If I throw across here, I have my shoulder for protection. The same thing goes with the hook. I throw the hook, I raise my elbow, and this is my protection. And of course, following step number 1, always turning. If I throw the hook, I do the same thing, and even the uppercut. If I throw an uppercut, I throw the uppercut, and my chin is completely hiding underneath my shoulder. So that's the second one. And you need to understand that whenever you do impact to the heavy bag to your opponent, it has to be at the end of the rotation. If you turn, it has to be at the end of the rotation. That way you end up having defense. If I punch here, I don't have defense. I need to turn. That way I'm having some defense, and I'm doing all the hip movement, and the punch is getting into my opponent at the end of the rotation. In each punch, if I wanna punch across, it's not like this. I need to do the impact at the end of the rotation in order to not stay in the center line. So I move. Whenever the rotation is finished, I have to make impact. One way that you can make sure that your punch is doing at the end of the rotation is using a jump rope. You can draw a line between your guard, always making sure from the tip of the toe to the ankle. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna throw each punch, you're starting from the jab, and you have to make sure that none of them end up either at the left side or the right side. I can't throw my jab in the left side, or I can't throw my jab in the right side. I have to make sure the complete rotation, and my fist, I make sure that my fist is on top of the line. I try to see that my fist is on top of the line, not to the left, not to the right. The same thing with my cross. I throw my cross and I make sure that my fist is just on top of the rope. Not here on the right, it's not here, not on the right, and of course not here on the left. You have to make sure it's in the line. That means your body is completely turned and it's perfect to maximize your power. With the hook you make the same thing. You're gonna stop. You need to stop you're gonna stop your fist in the middle of the rope. You're never gonna, you don't want to end up with the hook here, or you don't want to end up with the hook over here. It's too much turn. It will take too long to throw the other hook. The same thing here. You throw your hook, you stop here. You want to stop here. Unless you of course have a finisher punch and you want to go all in, but normally you will throw and you will stop. You try to stop here. You will try to stop in the middle. And of course the uppercuts are the same thing. You're not going to throw an uppercut and your feet's not going to be on top of the right side, or you're going to throw an uppercut, it's not going to be on the left side. You have to make sure your uppercut is on top of the line. It's aligned with the center. And the same thing with the right uppercut. That way you're making sure you're turning, you are maximizing your power, and the technique is appropriate. Now, if you want to maximize your power, you need to understand that force equals mass times acceleration. So you want to turn all your hip, put all your mass into the punch, and you want to do it as an arrow. You want to do it as straight as possible for straight punches, of course. And you have to make sure that sound is not the same as power. Some people think that slap, it sounds a lot. A slap sounds a lot, and it means a lot of power. Actually, the punches that are penetrating, that goes through, they don't have a loud sound. They actually the opposite. They're really quiet. So when I throw a hook, maybe it didn't sound as much as the slap. And why? Why is this? Because when you throw a slap, most of the energy is dissolved, is dispersed like to the sides. If you throw something like a sand rock or something, and you throw to the punching bag, it will destroy, and all the energy will be dissipate to the sides. If I throw like an arrow, it goes through. I try to go through the heavy bag. I will not lose my energy. So I'll make sure my punches are really straight. Never telegraphing, never pulling, just straight. You need to make sure that technique is better than power. Timing is better than speed. Precision is really important. So don't try to go like making more sound, pulling and trying to do this, and just to make people believe you're punching really hard because it sounds a lot. And this can be a philosophy for life too. Like most people that are loud, maybe they don't have that much technique. Maybe the strongest boxer is the one that's quiet. Unfortunately, that's not like rewarded in like professional boxing or professional mixed martial arts. Normally, they quite encourage people to be trash talkers and everything, but like you have to try to stay quiet. Be quiet and try to have all your power into your punches. Thanks everyone for watching my video. Remember, you can also train without gloves, without any wraps, but make sure to make your fist correctly. Like in most traditional martial arts, you will see them punching with a bare knuckle. It's not gonna damage your wrist, but I would suggest that if you're gonna start doing with the punching bag without the hand wraps and without the boxing gloves, it's really useful that you only work, or you only focus on landing on these two big knuckles. That's why I normally use a heavy bag without gloves. so I can make sure that my point of impact is with these two big knuckles, so I can make sure. So I go with my cross, I go with my hook, and I'll check that I'm actually punching with these two big knuckles. I go with my uppercuts and everything. Then I put my boxing gloves and I'll now box normally. So I would suggest to go like not hard with the heavy bag so you don't get injured, and make sure the point of impact is correctly into your two big knuckles. Leave me a comment below of what you want to learn next week and I'll sure do that video for you. See you next week.